Hello, it's Crypto CJ. It's Trade of the Day, Monday afternoon slash evening Zoom edition, and Tuesday morning for my friends on the other side of the world. Welcome aboard. We've had Bitcoin did hold the 60K over the weekend and pushed above 64 in the wee hours today, at least on US time. But dipped below in the low 63s for at the moment. Bitcoin in the low 3000s. I mean, Ethereum in the low 3000s. Let's go to the charts and check it out. Okay, should be seeing my Bitcoin day chart.
Yes.
Thank you, Peter. All right, so as you may recall from Friday, if you were here, if you saw the replay, I've switched this up a bit. I've got Fibonacci retracements on my day chart instead of support and resistance zones. I did draw a support line here at 40K going back to January this year and December of last year. So I drew my Fibonacci from there up to the top here around 73,000, and these are the values that it produced. If you watch and or listen to Bryce's Thursday calls or the Tuesday Altcoin Alert calls, you'll hear references from time to time to the 786, 618, and that's what they're talking about, these values that occur in Fibonacci retracements. And I use these more on the larger frame charts. I don't day trade using this, but I will look at it for swing trades and hodls. And as you can see, we did dip down to the 0.5 area, which is a common entry for people who like to trade this way using retracements. I like it. I like for something to go up, dip down, and then use that prior short-term high as an exit and then get in on the dip. And you'll see that's how I trade. That's what I'll talk about using the various indicators that we'll discuss shortly. Now, if you don't like my entry at the 40K and you want to move this to say the 52 area, right about here, you'll see that the dip we had last week came down to the 786 using that level. So again, more of an art than a science, but I think I'll be using Fibonacci retracements more to illustrate long-term retracements, and you can find those over here on TradingView, right up here towards the top on the left, Gann and Fibonacci tools, and I put a star by the two I use the most. When we break through 73K on Bitcoin and go into all-time high areas, I'll break out the extension, and I'll be using that to help me determine what the next level should be. This tool can be useful for that, but we're not there yet. So, okay. Any questions on Bitcoin? Let's take a quick look at the Ethereum chart. I still have the same zones that I've drawn in for the last couple of months because we have not hit an all-time high in Ethereum. And that's up here around 4,300. We broke above 4,000 in March, but couldn't sustain it. And since then dipped down to the low 3,000s, even broke 3,000 a couple times. But generally speaking, 3,000 is held as a support area for Ethereum. Finally, I was on Twitter, and I think I've talked about this gentleman, Kyle Chassis. I think this is someone that Bryce follows, and I look at his stuff nearly daily. And I thought I'd point out a few highlights on his. This looks like a recap. I don't know if this is a new feature. I haven't noticed this before for him, but I may start stealing this and using it in my calls. So all kinds of cool stuff listed here. Bitcoin celebrates 1 billion transactions. FTX is still causing problems. ETF volume has dropped. We talked quite a bit about ETFs earlier this year before the Bitcoin ETF was approved. We talked a little bit about the Hong Kong ETF, but not nearly the volume there that we have in the US, obviously. And then there is there's supposed to be an Ethereum ETF that the SEC is going to either approve, deny, or punt sometime this month, but haven't heard anything more on that as of yet. So those were the few I thought were newsworthy. The others you can read, at your leisure if you want to look for Mr. Chassis on Twitter. Okay, any comments, questions about the overall markets before we look for some trades on Altcoin Alert? Okay. Let's go to Altcoin Alert. I'm going to reload, get the most current information. I'm using the altcoin radar, not the dashboard. I want all the columns. And I'm going to choose a few of these columns for specific sorts. I usually start with the AA score. I did this morning, as is my usual routine. And I put alerts on Rune and Solana as coins I trade with some frequency. Let's look at Solana and see what we can do with that. This is my day trading layout. It's on the 15-minute chart. Got support and resistance illustrated with my supply and demand visible range, which is a free Lux algo indicator. You can find your indicators here. And I also have done a video on how I set these up. You can email me for that, cryptocj13@gmail.com, and I'll send it to you. You can also find it, I believe, in the video I send on Sundays and Mondays that describes the format of what I'm doing now. And there's links in that video and in the description of that video as well. So support and resistance. I use the RTI, the relative trend index, for alerts and entries. And on trend-based alerts, I'll use the cumulative delta for confirmation. I'm not rigid on these. I've been using the RTI since October. Before that, I used the RSI. I've used different volume and momentum type indicators for confirmation, but this is a setup that I've used for the past, I guess it's going on about 7 months now. So I'll probably keep it for a while. Okay, so Solana. Going over here to my list I started trading on Binance. I trade mostly on Bybit now through a sneaky way to trade on foreign exchanges. Again, email me if you're curious about that. All right, so we are in the red zone on the 15-minute chart. It means we're at resistance, which is not a good place to get in for a long trade. Could be a good short, but I think most of the folks who are on here, especially new folks, are not trading shorts, not trading leverage, and that's as it should be. You need to become proficient on spot trading before you start that. But I do have more experienced traders on my call, so I will talk about shorts and leverage from time to time as well. So at the moment, we are at resistance on the 15-minute chart. Been beaten down twice already here around 155, 156. So that does appear to be some resistance. On the RTI, we are above the 80. My favorite entries on the RTI are like this one here. Let me pull out my horizontal or vertical line. You can see where it dipped below the 20 on the RTI, turned red, then came back up. That's where I like to get in on my dips and retraces. As you can see, when that broke back above, we got a nice move. 8% in a little over a day. That's a great day trade if you stay in that long. Most of my day trades, I'm scalping. I'm looking for 1 to 1.5%. And I trade at 10x leverage. If you are trading spot, you may want to hold a little longer, try to get 2, 3, 4%. If you pile those up, your balance can grow pretty quickly. At the moment, we don't have a setup where we have a dip below the 20. We have the opposite, actually. This would be something you would short potentially, where it breaks above the 80 and then dips back down. Here's an example of that. broke below the 80. So it did bounce back up, and then it came down, and that would have been a good trade for me. I would have been out right about here in 2 hours with my 1.3%, give or take. Okay, so what do we do now? We don't have the setup we want, so we're going to set an alert on the RTI. There's a couple ways to do it. Right click on the RTI. For the dip below the 20 and the retrace that I discussed earlier, we're going to be crossing up on the 20. And if you want to leave this on all day, which is what I usually do, choose once per bar close, alert name. I usually choose the information source. So this is an AA score purchase. TradingView will remember that for you once you type it in 5 or 6 times. Notifications. I'm going to notify on my app on my phone, pop up on my desktop computer, and play a sound also on my computer. And for day trades like this, I usually go with chirpy. Click create, you're good to go. Okay, another option instead of the 20 is maybe we don't think it'll get down that far, but how about the 50? The 50 is pretty good. And the 50 is this dotted line I've drawn here. You'll have to add this if you load this indicator. And as you can see, when it breaks above the 50, it does pretty well. I mean, did that here, and we got that big move that we illustrated earlier. It dipped back down, came back up again, and did that a few times. There's a dip and a break again. So, and here's another one, dip below the 50, break up, and then get a really big move. So on this one, I've got the 50 as well as the 20. So everything else is the same. I might use a different indicator on, or a different sound. Can maybe go with 3 notes reverb. And then for more experienced traders want to trade both directions, we're going to go with entering channel, and this is the one I use the most. 80 on the top, 20 on the bottom, and everything else is the same. So if it breaks above the 80 and dips back down, I'll get an alert. If it dips below the 20 and comes back up, I'll get an alert. So any questions on Solana as a day trade? Okay, let's look at Solana as a potential short-term swing trade. Layout's a little bit different. I'm on the 1-hour chart now. And I'd use this for an illustration on my one of my videos last week. So I still got that's a pretty good example. So, sell at resistance here at 160. Buy at support a few days later at, where was this, 123. And then now it's back to 155. So I guess that was a pretty good illustration, if I say so myself. So the support and resistance indicator is still the same. I use supertrend because it's alert friendly. And then my confirmation is this Trendio LSMA, which is a moving average. So like here's this example, the buy signal went off, the LSMA had turned. So that would have been a good entry right about here. And obviously you see it took off. Now I'm in resistance. The sell has printed, but I don't have confirmation yet on the LSMA. So if I wanted to short this, I would be waiting for that. Another option, this is a little more advanced, is to add divergence. And then when you have divergence confirmed, which is a disagreement between indicators and price action, and you're in, like in this scenario, we've got bearish divergence on this OBV indicator. And then we are in in the red zone, at resistance, which is usually a good place to buy a short. No guarantees, but this could be a pretty good short if you are so inclined to take one. Shorting in what's basically a bull market is risky. I suggest if you do that, you probably implement some kind of a stop loss. But if you want to wait, if you're trading spot, oh, that was the wrong one. Let's turn divergence off so we're not confused. For trading spot, you probably want to, I would just set an alert on the supertrend just for once. And again, we want to buy. And this is AA score. And you can go with the 1 hour, the 30-minute. I sometimes set alerts on the 30-minute. And we aren't in a buy signal on the 30-minute, but we are at resistance on this time frame. If you anticipate holding a coin longer, say, hey, CJ, I'm going to be in this for a month. That's when you want to go to your longer time frames and look at those areas of resistance. And I remembered that, it wasn't that long ago, the end of March, Solana was over 200. So I think it would be reasonable to take a position now and then to write it up, try to pick up 20% and writing it back up to say between 185 and 200. Want to hold on longer, but just bear in mind it took about 23, 24 days to drop that much. It could take that long for it to pump back up. So, or it may never pump back up. That's the risk we all take. Okay, I covered a lot with the Solana, with the options on this one. Any questions on either the day trading or the swing trade approach? Okay. All right, then I'm gonna go a little bit faster on the other ones that we look at. So back to Altcoin Alert, we've looked at an AA score. Let's look at some of the other sorts. Quick refresh. And we look at social activity. And I'm gonna match social activity up with trading activity. If I get, like this one, fire and a thumb for something I'm familiar with, that's something I want to look at closer. If I get fire and poop, not so much. Fire on Teller. We looked at this one on Friday. Looks like it's still moving up. Render is one I caught my eye earlier. This is one I like to trade. And we're up a couple percent, and we got fire and a thumbs up. Let's look at this as both a day trade and a swing trade. Okay, RNDR. I believe this is can't remember if it's a gaming token or a AI token, but I know the Crypt Nation guys like this one. On the 15-minute chart, we are sitting at resistance, much like the Solana setup we looked at earlier, and we're above the 80. So again, I think if you want to trade this on spot, you want to set alerts on the RTI crossing up. And then I would set one at 50 and one at 20. There's the 50 example, 20. If you're I usually go with once per bar close. I initiate my alerts usually around between 7 and 9 a.m. on weekdays, and then turn them off, between 7 and 9 p.m. And they go off depending on how busy the market is. Probably each alert goes off 3 or 4 times a day. So, okay, 50 and 20 on this. Notifications are the same. Choose whichever one you like. You would change the alert name, social activity sort, and you're off on render. On a swing trade, again, looks very similar to Solana on these time frames. On the hour, it's still in the buy. Obviously, you don't want to buy up here. So you might want to set an alert on the buy, hopefully hoping that the sell kicks in, it goes down a little bit, and then the buy kicks in again. Then you have a decision to make. Do you want to buy at resistance on the 1-hour chart, or do you say I'm going to hold this longer, go out farther for my evaluation? Render was in mid-March up to $13. So if we go to our day chart and look at the red zone there, it's between 1178 and 1365. Pretty big range there. And just bear in mind that you could be in that trade for a while. Okay, what's a 30-minute chart say? Yeah, we got to sell on the 30-minute. So this might be a place to put that alert on the supertrend. Get the buy. And then look at, once you've set that, also look at the Trendio is already turned green, so that's in your favor. Yeah, if you're willing to hold this for a while, it could be a good swing trade. Any questions on render? Okay, we'll do one more sort on Altcoin Alert. So we've done AA score, social activity. Long-term sentiment is something I like to use for swing trading. And I'm going to match that up with the Elder Impulse Daily, but we've only got 8 positive or 8 bullish. And none of them, Teller is the only one that's matching. Let's look at Teller as a swing trade. I think we just looked at it as a day trade on Friday. TRB, is that my list? No. I think you can get this. Yeah, it's on Coinbase. So, yeah, it's the sell printed earlier today. So a buy would be next. But we are in the red zone on the 30-minute. On the hour, I think it's the same situation. 4-hour and day chart. Okay, well, right at the end of the year, 2023, we had this insane move up to $500 on one day candle, and then a big crash after that. So there's plenty of room to go back with the 8-hour. Yeah, the 8-hour chart, if you got in now, there's 20-some% back up, 30% even to this resistance in early March around 121. So that took 66 days. So you could be in this a couple months. That's longer than I like to be in any trade, pretty much, except my hodls. So I don't know. This one might be played out already. Not liking it that much, but it's got room to move based on long-term prior price action. Okay. Any questions on Teller? All right. Well, we've been moving along pretty well. Let's head over to iCoinPro. iCoinPro is the home of the 1-2-3 dip. This is where I learned from day trading from somebody who was involved in this and then branched out on his own. But I've used their tools for quite a while. I like the Buddy Coin Crawler and their RSI Spy. However, this is malfunctioning at the moment. It hasn't updated a lot of this information. I'm going to contact them and let them know. The RSI Spy is accurate as far as I know. This is the one I use the most anyway. I'm usually looking for values. I'm sorting by the 1-hour RSI, and that's similar to the RTI that we were looking at earlier. And on the 1-hour, if it's below 30, that's something I'm going to look at a little more in detail. And sometimes I'll fudge on a bullish day and go down to about 35. And I was looking at something earlier from this at 35. Well, I was looking at Maker. It just went slightly above it. Yeah, 35.7. I don't have it up yet. Well, let's look at that anyway, because I think there was a setup there that I liked. It had dipped below the 20, it hadn't come back yet. Yeah, this is why I wanted to focus on this. So we're back on the day trade layout. We have a dip below the 20, has not come back yet. So this one is due. Now Maker isn't, a crazy volatile coin like SHIB or Doge or Bonk or one of those crazy coins, but when it breaks below the 20 and comes back, here's an example of that from Saturday night. You had taken this trade, would have gotten 2.3% in less than 12 hours, not bad. I would have gotten out probably right about here in 6-7 hours. So that works for me. You may want a more aggressive coin. It's $2,800, so it's not cheap. Doesn't move as much as those coins that cost a fraction of a penny. But I did want to point this one out because it's about to break up. So your alert looks like this, crossing up on the 20. And this is RSI SPY. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just set this alert. Maybe I'll take this this one. Go with Chirpy. And there we go. So when it breaks above the 20, I'll get that alert and I will reevaluate. If you want a bigger move, you can do the same thing I just showed you, but choose 50 instead of 20. And yeah, any questions on Maker? Okay. You can also sort this, you can flip it. If you're looking for shorts or looking for coins that have been beaten down, you think should be coming back, you can sort for 70 and higher. We've only got one, so Solana Bitcoin pair. This stuff, it does have Bitcoin pairs, which I don't trade, so that's kind of annoying, but you just look past them. And we looked at Solana already. Let's see if there's something else we can look at. Render we looked at. INJ. Yeah, I'm kind of fudging a little too much. Maybe we'll look at something I haven't looked at in a while or traded before that has pretty good volume. FTX token, interesting. And Athena, I've heard things about. Let's look at one of their charts. ETHN. Is that the right one? ENA. Okay, Athena is on Kraken, so you can get it there. Not on Coinbase yet. Look at the Kraken. Actually, that's a futures option. I don't think I want that chart. Let's just look at a Bybit spot or Binance chart. Yeah, look at Binance. Okay, so we just broke above the 80 on the RTI. A little bit of room up to the red zone, 2%. It had a nice break above the 50 here recently, this afternoon. And then we get a 3.5% move. That's really good day trade there. So I like this one as something to set an alert on the 50 on the RTI. So crossing up on the 50 RSI SPY. And yeah, maybe go with the 3 notes reverb. And then I would look at the cumulative delta to see, or for confirmation. Okay. Any questions on Athena? Well, that's about all I have today for Altcoin Alert and iCoinPro markets overall. Any questions about anything we talked about? Or any coins you want to look at, any charts? Very well.
So CJ,
I'll
you mentioned you could send us some of the way that you get your TradingView setups.
yes.
So do I just send you an email or?
Yeah. Go ahead and email me if you're on this. Most people on this call are on my email list.
Okay.
So, and then I think my email is also in the Slack group for Altcoin Alert. If you don't remember it, but it's cryptocj13@gmail.com.
Thanks.
And I'll point out where you can find that.
All right.
All right, Mr. Cole, thank you for the question. Oh, speaking of questions, I did get one via email, and I'll bring that up. I'll just read it instead of sharing it. I was asked about shorts on Coinbase, and I did look at that trading option, and I ruled it out for myself because it's only got 4 coins. It's got Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash. So that didn't appeal to me very much. But, that option is there on Coinbase. As always, you should be a proficient spot trader before you, head out into the murky waters of leverage trading. It can be exciting and it can be very dangerous and risky. So, but yeah, I haven't tried Coinbase leverage. It's got limited coins to trade, but that is an option if you want to try it. Okay. If there's nothing else, I'll wrap it up here. If you're watching on the recording, appreciate that. Hope to see you live next time. Check out the opportunities in the pinned comment. They help fund the channel. And for everybody else, I'll see you next time.
Thanks, CJ.
All right, thank you.